Why is it that the men of Busia hate their women so much?
Elderly women in Butula, Busia County, are living in fear of being sexually attacked and killed by a section of the community's youth.
Jamana toka na bounce akikwambia I'm not guilty until proven guilty. Na uliona kweli alirarua mtoto ya mwenyewe.
Akiona tu mwanamke ama mbaba amevaa longi anaanza kupiga nduru.
Somebody defiles your child who is disabled. Wewe kubali nikupigie 10,000, history die. Si ati yako na faida sana kwako.
I feel like killing somebody.
We have a rotten system.
Most of the time we see the image of the victim. Why are we not painting the image of the perpetrator? Many people look at sexual offenses purely as a crime.
The systems have failed us.
We should normalize fighting the crime as opposed to fighting the victim.
People believe when you do have a sexual intercourse with a virgin, you are hate.
Butula is more than worse, my dear.
Asanteni sana kwa kunikaribisha home, Mary. Thank you so much for welcoming me here. Kwa majina naitwa Philip Karanja ama Baba Njeri. And the reason tumekuja hapa ni kwa sababu nikiwa pale Nairobi wakati tunatazama news, I always see cases child defilement, and a lot of the time huwa zinaripotiwa zimetoka ipande ya Busia. Through Equality Now ambao walikubali kuona hii vision yangu, and they partnered with me. Wakaniambia twende Busia. Kila tribe iko na culture zao. Mimi niko tu hapa kujua what's happening on the ground na vile tunaweza suluhisha hili tatizo. Sawa sawa. Yeah, twende kazi. Kambua.
Phil.
You're well?
Niko salama kabisa.
Uko salama?
Yes.
Kambua is a very good friend of mine, and she had I was taking this trip na akasema, you know what, please usiniache.
Yes.
Lazima tuzunguke.
Yes.
We've been here in Busia. We've been here for 3 days.
Yes.
You've heard the stories?
I have heard the stories. We have been hearing the stories. But I think actually being here and knowing, as you've said, when you're so far away, some of the stories sound made up because they're too difficult to wrap your head around, but they are true stories, and that's why we are here, to understand what the problem in Busia is. And when we understand that and accept that there is a problem, what's the way forward?
My name is Frida Mogoi. I'm a clinical officer and a child psychologist. I'm based at Onyango Sub-County Hospital. Feel these cases are real. I see them on daily basis. Also the sexual cases, hardly a day goes by.
In the 2021 GBVRC data, Busia County Referral Hospital's Gender-Based Violence Recovery Center recorded 252 SGBV cases in 2021, with 182 defilement cases and 15 rape cases. That is, 182 children raped, not counting the adult women. This phenomenon is not new. Rampant rape has been going on in Busia unchecked for years. The perpetrators range from the lowly to the mighty, with even political leaders here being accused of raping girls as young as 14 years of age without repercussions.
I received my first case of defilement in 1998, and right now I've handled 13,876 cases.
Those cases are there, and they are reported almost on a daily basis.
What are the challenges that you face as the officer commanding the station?
We have people from the community, some of the people from the community, some, and very few actually. They want to compromise the cases. They want to look for ways and means not to record the statements from the witnesses, and they can even tell the victim to change the statement. Another challenge is that some people are not aware when to report these cases. Unless they are informed, they are given the information, they can even report after some hours beyond. And that makes it difficult maybe for the doctors to give a good report on the medical side, so that that case can be allowed in the courts.
So they're very, very rampant. The actually defilement cases are the most.
Right.
And we have the same, cultural. Those who are married with kids, let's say you're a lady and you've been married with a small girl, the husband does not take that as their child. They take that as their wife. So that's how they defile the child.
In Kisumu, a lot of the cases, are they child defilement cases or? Yeah.
Yes, a majority of the cases are defilement cases. You'll have, I think, the last one, the one that stands out is that I had to escort a 5-year-old who had been defiled by just the next door neighbor, and she has to testify in court. And unfortunately, the prosecutor was a man, so she didn't even want to respond to cases. I mean, 2 questions that were asked to her because she was afraid of the prosecutor, and there was no witness box, so she had to also see the perpetrator.
There was a case where I was talking to the survivor, and she told me, she's the mom, she told me at some point the judge actually asked her to leave the courtroom and leave the child and the perpetrator in the same room. I don't know, something about that just seems wrong. Like how do you have a child and the perpetrator in the same room at any one point, and this child is supposed to give out their statement?
And we've heard about the impact that SGBV has on children, on women, and even men. So there is that lack of understanding and appreciation of how serious SGBV is and how it has the capacity to just crush somebody. My experience practicing the law before I joined this sector, it's viewed as just any other crime. So if I am a magistrate and I think this child is being coached or is being helped by a partner or the mother, I have no problem saying go away and be left with this person who defiled you, because I don't have that survivor-centered approach. I'm not putting myself in their shoes to try and imagine how does it feel like somebody coming, and defiling you as a child.
And it has a lot of effects. I think the last one we were helping last month, and still continuing, she's still bleeding from the act, so she still has to go to hospital. We have a GBVRC, Gender-Based Recovery Center. If you go on any day, it is full, because that's where most of the cases are referred to. The other ones are for widows. So we have land issues in Kisumu. We have SBV cases because there's someone who was widowed, she's refused to leave the land, and then these people decide, you know what, the close relatives decide, so let's remove her via violence. So whenever you go to the community, and these ones hardly ever want to report because they're elderly women and they're vulnerable. So it's whenever you go to the community dialogues and you're talking, that's when someone will come up and say, yes, this actually happened to me, and all that. So it's always connected to land issues. Then the others is just for the sugarcane plantations and the beach. So in order for you to maintain your employment, you have to keep quiet for any sexual acts that you are admitted against you.
I'm just curious to know, I'll throw this to Sharon, but really I think any one of us can respond to this. I know that many homes would rather protect their reputation, even when they know that it is the father of this bomber who has done it. How do you go around that system to ensure that justice is still served for this child or for this woman? How do you go around that?
That's actually like the most common. They will not report, or they will not want someone to report. But the good thing is that most of them will go to the healthcare facility. So as you're offering counseling to the survivor, you're also offering counseling to the parent to see that they understand that it is wrong to keep quiet, and it is wrong to protect the husband, because most of them will also tell you, so if you arrest him, what am I supposed to do? I depend on him. But also looking at what are the other factors that are leading to this silence, this wanting to protect. But for some of them, it's just because they don't want the shame in the community. And so if you're going to talk to the community sensitization and all that, you have to bring that aspect out. So I'll give an example. One of our sub-counties, we went, and they just told us, you know what, last week we just banned one of these rapists. So like why he was in jail, he was released, and when he was released, he defiled his mother, his wife, his brother's wife, and his brother's child. So they were widows. So he defiled all of them. So the community decided, you know what? Anyone else protecting this person, we are also coming for you. So they just dealt with it. So once you talk to the community, they also know not to protect these people.
You deposit the shame where the shame belongs. The person who has done the wrong is not this 5-year-old, for goodness sake, who's been violated. It's a perpetrator. So we as a community need to, and I like the term, normalize shaming the right person. And so we take it away from the child, we take it away from the widow, and we pin it squarely on the perpetrator and anyone who wants to protect it. We shine a light on the issue, we bring a mirror to a society that is intent on shaming others as opposed to shaming the person who is raping a child.
I love it. Shame the perpetrator.
And just like we did this poster, these were children who are defiled in a month.
In 1 month?
Yes, I remember it was a May month. These children were defiled.
Listening to these disturbing numbers of children being raped, widows being raped, and old women being raped, why are people not reporting?
I'm just wondering when, especially with the minors who have been defiled, and usually there's the process of we have to collect evidence. What does that process look like? Because a lot of them are even too young to explain what happened.
We have a rotten system. Like the system, the process is bad. There are others who will want even to be paid before they do the PRC form. There are others who will be so hostile to the survivor. There are others who will totally just say, nimechoka, I'm tired of these cases. You either pay them or they don't. So I am appealing that we have a good system.
Saa zingine huwa nasikia uchungu sana as an SGBV Alliance member. Tunajitahidi kama CSOs kwa ground, unashika perpetrator unapeana kwa polisi. Unafanya shughuli zote. After 1 week jamaa anatoka na bounce akikwambia I'm not guilty until proven guilty. Na uliona kweli alirarua mtoto ya mwenyewe. It's so painful. I feel like killing somebody.
Now, somebody has been defiled. The child is pregnant. 9 months down the line, she's going to give birth. Who is going to take care of this child? If this person is arrested, this is the perpetrator even saying, you arrest me today, tomorrow I'll be out. I'll sell my cow, I'll give there, I'll be out. You will remain with your child on your own. And you find the parents are even agreeing with that because of why? The system has failed them. So you find we are somehow tied because we take them to court. Down the line, we have nothing to show for it when people are being released without getting convictions. The systems have failed us because look at a situation where as CSOs, we have come together, try to put up a policy that can address issues to do with SGBV. 6 years down the line, nothing is happening. Money has been spent. We have taken anybody who is involved in the chain. The police, the judiciary, everybody, the chiefs, they've been trained on SGBV. But what do we have to show of the cases? For anything to happen, threats must be done. Riots, we have to picket for anything to happen. And then it is just cosmetic, something happens. After 2-3 months, nothing again happens. So the system is exploring the loopholes. The community is also tired. Much as we can know of these perpetrators, you have heard the cases Mary has talked about. Somebody is arrested, imprisoned, released. The first thing he does, goes ahead and defiles again. So to them it's very normal. So how do you convince somebody who has been defiled to go to court again? And then these long processes. A case drags like a year, 2 years, 3 years. How do you expect a 3-year-old child to remember what happened to her 3 years ago? She has forgotten. She has the trauma, yes, but she has forgotten the details. And they use that as the excuse to throw this case away.
I'm sorry, I'm from Busia County, but I'm also not embarrassed to call this county government out. We do not have facilities. If there's a rape case here right now, we will need to go collect evidence of DNA in Kisumu.
Right now, I'm handling a case, which I know I have shared with Valerie, where a child had to go seek treatment in Bungoma. And they went to Bungoma, and still they could not get that service. She's now in Eldoret as I speak. She was defiled, an unsafe abortion occurred, and she had sepsis. Now she has cancer. And this county here cannot cater for that girl.
So what is the county investing in when it comes to gender? I don't know if there's a department for gender. In their budget of whatever billion they receive, what are they investing in? What is the women rep doing? Have they built a safe house? What are they doing for gender? And I think that is something that, should be looked into, and they should be called out.
Children of Busia are suffering. They are not getting the justice because the systems, in one way or another, are corrupt.
It's bad for women, it's bad for children, it is horrible for persons living with disability. Cases ambazo nimezisikia sana hapa Busia is the heinous act being perpetrated on persons living with disability. Hapa hivi home Busia kuna culture ya if you're disabled, they see you as less of a man. Yes.
You see, already, especially for women and girls, Busia is highly patriarchal.
Okay.
Highly patriarchal. So, in the patriarchy, add disability, you are so disadvantaged. Extremely. Patriarchy plus disability, then you are just gone. You're a gone case. So, most cases, I've interacted with people with disability, and most cases you find somebody defiles your child who is disabled, and they don't see the reason why you're tunaulizana nini. I've not done something.
Usio mtu.
Yeah, as in, wewe kubali nikupie 10,000, hii story die. You accept, let me give you this 10,000, we end this story. And if you refuse, they're like, why are you refusing? She's disabled.
10,000.
Yes, she's disabled. Let me give you this cow, we end this story. And
umesema cow?
Yes.
Ng'ombe.
Yes. And if you do not agree, you are again the one with you're the one who seems like you have a problem, because this child is disabled. Si ati ako na faida sana kwako. So it's not like I've done something so heinous. You need to understand. The society expects you to understand that your child is disabled, and it's not a big deal.
There is this child who was like 10 years old, born with severe disability. She's deaf, she's dumb, and she's the limbs are very weak, so she stays in bed throughout, just lying there. Somebody came and defiled her, sneaked into the house and defiled her. We arrested this guy, took him to court. He was given bail, he was out. The family now went back to the father of this child and told him, you see, this girl of yours, she will never be married, so you will never receive anything. Hakuna mahari atalipiwa, so she will not benefit you in any way. Here, girls are supposed to benefit the family. A girl is money. A girl is, yeah. So it's like this girl, nani atamuoa, so who will pay you anything? Nobody. So wacha tukulipe ng'ombe na mbuzi na 10,000, hii mambo ishe. And the father agreed. Locked up the child, never took the child to court. This guy could go. The victim had disappeared in the thin air. By the time we discovered that this child has been locked in a room, we found the child almost breathing her last. We took her to hospital. She lasted 2 days and died. The father has disappeared. And so children with the disability, it's even worse.
Wacha tusikie kwa watu wa ground. Mbona tunabaka watoto?
Kwa majina ni Sele Sokelo, chairman wa Riders bodaboda. Mimi nimeandikwa kubeba mtoto wa mama. So nabeba huyu, nachukua ule. So naona sometime inafanya kwamba badala nilinde huyo mtoto, maybe mama amechelewa kunilipa mshahara kidogo. Naona nafanyia mtoto wake madhambi.
Inatumiwa kama weapon ya
so Hapo ndio imekuwa sana hapo nyuma.
My name is Onana. I'm a lawyer. Busia does not prioritize getting a safe shelter. So we are dealing with budgeted corruption in that we have allocations each year, money put, but somehow it disappears.
Okay, my name is Edwin Oduor. I'm a chief within the sub-county. I can say one of the factors is culture. There is a primitive notion where people believe, especially for those that are affected by HIV and AIDS, they believe when you do have a sexual intercourse with a virgin, then you are healed.
What? Okay.
Yes. And when you look at most people who are virgin, they are minors. So that is a contributing factor towards defilement cases. The other factor is drug abuse. You'll find most of those youths either defiling or raping women are under the influence of drugs. So when the sexual urge is high, the only alternative is to force, and they will force anybody who is close.
I'm Masia Diambo, chief within the sub-county. The factors that are leading to rise in defilement and rape, one is poverty.
Okay.
This factor, this is a scenario where you get a man using both a mother and the daughter so that they can be provided for. This is somebody who is paying for the school fees of that girl. Uses the girl, he uses the mother.
My name is Richard Tue. I am the Assistant County Commissioner for Marajis. The issue of land. Apparently, in the community that we live in, they don't value women when it comes to subdivision. So in order to get rid of women, they do this form of violence to send them away from their homes.
I feel like I'm really bothered by the ukikuja kwangu na mtoto wewe ni bibi yangu. He shared about if you have a disability you're almost like you're a half human being, or hautaleta mahari, you have no value, or if I have HIV, there's myths that my first question is, we're in the year 2024. There has been so much education on HIV and AIDS, how it's contracted when you have it, what you need to do. How is it that a community still wants to hold on to such thoughts and take it out on their children? I feel like the women and the children of Busia and Kisumu are almost not human beings. Why is it that the men of Busia hate their women so much and their children so much that it's, if we are poor, let's defile. Ukikosa kunilipa boda, let's defile. Ukikosa kufanya hivi, let's defile. Why is it that the women and the children are the first ones on that line of attack? What is the problem? Why does the community not value the women of this community? What is the problem?
The idea is, if you have frustration, anger, you channel it to the weakest link, or what you assume to be the weakest or the weak person within the community. In the entirety, it means that there's an acceptability. So listening, for me, I have learned that there's a collective in our society understanding that the woman is the weak link, and then there's an acceptance that rape is a weapon. So that whoever you are, wherever you are in the cadre of life, this is a weapon available to me. Yes, the drug abuse, the mental illness fits in the categories of those who are raping their own daughters and so on. But for the vast majority is rape is a weapon, and it's normal for everyone to think as much, and that the weakest point is there. And I think this is true because as soon as this morning, Mary was even now saying there was a boy of 12 now who's been brutalized. And if we don't stop this tide, now they'll find the next weakest link, and you begin to see if the numbers are not already there.
My name is Christine Wanjiru. I'm an advocate. We had to get it out of their mind that you're not the wrong person. So don't be afraid of this person. I'm talking about having to tell a child that your father did you wrong. When you go to court, look at him in the eye if the court wants you to be there with them. But I always worked hard that they didn't have to look at them in the eye. Mostly, thank God for virtual courts, we insisted that they be in prison and the child is in court. So look at them, and when they ask you a question, no matter how bad it is, look at them and tell them that you did it. Just what Jody said, we should normalize fighting the crime as opposed to fighting the victim. And by that, we can only do that by ensuring the victims have a say in the first place. They get the right systems in the hospitals, they get the right systems at the police stations. So the problem is not just in Busia, it is actually a problem in the whole country that needs to be talked about, and only be done by having social systems that are supporting of girls and women and children.
My name is Isaiah Chola. I'm a male champ, based here in Butler. Let us get, if it is a problem, a way of interventions to get to the society to try and sensitize them to know, one, women, their rights, men, to also recognize the role of women in society.
I think for us, how we go about engaging the community, the first instance we go as a dialogue. Let the community tell you what they think, what they really think. Just listen, because in it lies their issues. And then you also now come in with the sensitization. You know what the law says, you know what is right, but sensitize them in a way that they are able to relate to it. But you do that also using, in every community, there are always the gatekeepers. They're always the people they look up to, whether it's religious leaders, whether, all those people. And then finally, and I think this is a major issue that we have, the deterrence part. The deterrence part, we are missing that.
Okay.
So if someone there was arrested and jailed for this and this, you come and tell them, you see, your fellow guy is in Kodiaga 50 years. You bring it home to them that there are consequences for this. And you go back to that same community that you talked to a while back and see where they are in their thinking.
Some speakers have said that these cases are becoming rampant because of cultural issues. I could seriously not to support it. They are coming rampantly because our cultural values have been eroded. Because our culture, the Luyan culture, was so smart and so clean. A child belonged to the community, and any person in the community could take care of a child, whether it is his or her own biological or not biological. So the eroding of our cultural values has contributed significantly to the defilement cases and all whatever, because mtu akiona mtoto anaona kama mtoto wa fulani, sio mtoto wa community.
So my name is Immaculate Amoit. I'm also part of the SGBV Alliance, and I'm also working with Western Tourism Empowerment Campaign. We are based in Teso North and Teso South. And so specifically, I'm glad that Kamboa is here and Phil is here. And Phil is a storyteller. So Phil, what stories do you tell about women? What is your portrayal of women? Because we live in a world that the media has glamorized abusive behavior towards women.
Hello, my name is Doreen. So I just wanted to add on what Amoit had mentioned on the role of the media. So let us talk about femicide and the recent case we've had on the athlete who was killed by the ex-boyfriend. Most of the time we see the image of the victim, and it is well known in the community that it is the ex-boyfriend who committed the offense. Why are we not painting the image of the perpetrator? Why everyone in the community knows at this point, even someone in Busia, in Butler, knows it was the ex-boyfriend. Why are we not knowing this person's face? But the media will constantly show the image of the victim. If this perpetrator is constantly, we are seeing this image on our TVs, on our social media, this person will not have the freedom to even walk out of the house. But what are we doing? So for me, it is to urge the media again, let us always shame the perpetrators.
What support would you want so that we can end the GBV cases in this county?
Get in touch with our stakeholders, all our stakeholders and NGOs, we come together and we share and we support one another to make the cases to be successful.
One is first to capacity building the medical fraternity people so that they are aware that these things are happening and how to handle each case based on how it comes in without fear, especially on the aspects of the legal aspects of documentation of the cases. That's where most of my colleagues become shy. Two, supporting the medics when they go to court to testify. Like, why should I be using my fare on the way and I'm not the perpetrator in this case? I'm only going to give the medical aspect of what I saw when I examined the client. I wish there was resources to support the community in terms of civic education, to support the medical fraternity in terms of to go and testify in the courts.
First of all, I just want to say, let us not believe that poverty is a problem in Busia. Our priorities are upside down. Let us spare money to take children to hospital. Let us spare money to take children to school and all that. Me, I would work on the community to change the attitude, to change these cultural beliefs that perpetuate violence and SGBV in particular against children. We need to work with the traditional elders, traditional leaders, to mitigate harmful cultural practices.
I'm getting from all my panelists that we really need to mobilize a lot of resources so that we can do a lot of civic education and a lot of training for the medics and the police officers as well.
The justice sector, there's just need for a multi-sectoral approach and sufficient resources. But the one thing that is standing before us today is that if sexual and gender-based violence is a problem, as we have talked about, it is shocking that the county hasn't put down a coin. Since devolution happened in 2013, we have no shelter here. With the number of children we are hearing, the 3-year-old, the 4-year-old, that people still have to have these children in their houses, we don't have a shelter. We don't have a lab. We don't even have resources, DSA set aside so that the clinician can go to court. As a county, what are you doing? There's a complete failure and a disconnect if this cannot be a priority, for sure. And then finally, I still repeat, there has to be a community dialogue.
Yeah.
Rape is a weapon, whether we like it or not. It's accepted, and so it's not so bad. And so everybody's thinking this is the thing, and they've just found the weakest link, and they're channeling that weapon and utilizing it. And so that dialogue must be had.
And you know, the reality is, are our children safe? You know, really what you're saying that is that there is no child who is safe as long as there's someone in the society who thinks it's okay and they can get away with defiling a child. First place for the people of Busia, I love that this conversation is happening, is to say, yes, there's a problem, and not to be, oh, but there's problems everywhere else. It's has an issue been raised? Yes, there is. So let's address that issue. But I think the responsibility lies in each and every one of us. No one can say this is not my issue. I believe this. Yes, believe it, but also play an active role in being a protector of the women, of the children, and even of the girls and the boys as well.
Thank you so much, and so well put. What Busia has done to me, I grew up in a very difficult part of this country, in the ghetto, like in the pits, and in my head I've always told myself I'm a hard guy, but Busia has broken me. In parts of me I didn't even know that existed. And after this conversation and the conversations I've had in Busia, I don't think I'll ever be the same again. I don't think I'll ever see the world the same again. And I'm just going to end on that point. At this point, I think everything that needs to be said has been said. This has been Phil Moderates. Let's keep the conversation going.
Tunaweza wasaidiaje hapa kwa kijiji? Ni nini ungependa ifanyike?
Haki itendeke tu, hasa kwa mtoto wangu. Either hiyo DNA test ikitoka, wa mtu amfungie tu kifungo cha maisha, wasijaribu kumwachilia.
These men
will pay. They will pay. They're going to pay. It's hurting. Hurting indeed. It's too bad.